gosh, I can't even tell you what year it was, but the guy, he was talking to a guy who was here. Oh, thanks. And he was visiting with the guy, and the guy says, "Yeah, we came out here years ago, and I got off the train and left my arthritis on the train and never had problems since."
Oh, yeah.
And my grandmother had arthritis, so they sold their music store out in DeKalb and moved to Roswell. And he did a couple of jobs. He worked for, I'm not sure, Social Security, but I think he worked for a couple of people doing some bookkeeping and stuff, and never really quite knew what he wanted to do. He thought about opening another music store, but Ginsberg's already had a nice music store going, so he decided not to do that. And then he had a barbershop group, and he liked to sing barbershop, and they were going to put on a concert. So there were two printing companies in town. One was Hall Portbaugh, and the other one was this one out on East 2nd, almost near Roswell Livestock. And it was really a guy from Denver City who had some extra equipment, and he set up his buddy in Roswell with this extra equipment, and they were trying to sell the equipment is what they're trying to do. My grandfather went in there and asked him what it would cost to do a print job, and then he kept checking back and watching all the little steps they went through and how they created this printing thing. My grandfather just thought it was fascinating. And back then, everything they did was hand-set type. So you have this little tray, and you put all the letters in upside down and backwards. So you'd actually make all the words from pulling letters out of a drawer. And eventually my grandfather thought that was so cool. He ended up buying that printing company back in 1950. So, and then he went from there on East 2nd, he moved it to, you know where Lum Plumbing and Heating is? It's on South Main, kind of near LaGrone's. Yeah, just south of Hippie Chicks. Yeah, just south of Hippie Chicks. The same building?
No, there's a house next door to it.
It's a little small building, it's not. Anyway, he was there for just a little while, and then a Roswell doctor actually built him a building that he rented for almost 9 years on the corner of 5th and Richardson. It's now the municipal court. Used to be the gas company before that, but before that it was originally built as a building for a printing company. And they were there until my grandfather built the building we're in now in 1961. And when they built that, it was all handset type, and that's all they did was. And they had the little presses where you'd slide a card in and pull a card out, and they would print and like that. And they're called finger snappers with the presses. And that's what they're called, finger snappers.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you didn't get your hand out, it would snap the tips of your fingers off. So, yeah, yeah, they're very unforgiving presses. So then they graduated up to these things called linotypes. And then so when they started getting the Heidelberg and the Mealy, we still have those two presses. And they would type on a big typewriter thing. The machine was like as high as that cabinet and about as wide, and stuck out about from here to there too. It was pretty big. And the type on the typewriter, the old brass keys would slide down into these trays, and it would drop into this little slot in order. And then they'd take hot lead and they'd pour it into the little tray, and it would make a whole sentence of type. You've probably seen some of it on the filing cabinets by my window in the back. There's a couple of slugs there still. My summer job I would take them out to the shed, and I would fire up the smelter, and I would actually melt those back down and pour them back into 25-pound bars, and I had to carry them back into the print shop. So it was a lot of dirty work. And then we, of course, upgraded to offset printing, where they would mechanically make a picture of something, take it in the lunchroom, which used to be a dark room. There was a camera, there was developer trays, there was the sink, all that stuff. Black, yeah, the walls were all black. They had safe lights and stuff. It was a regular printing process, and you would take a picture of whatever you were printing, and then you would take that, of course, and then burn a metal plate. And some of you remember the plate maker we had. And we'd burn metal plates and put them on the press and do the printing. And then they developed a paper plate technology and then camera plate technology. And now we just make plates on the Xerox, and it just prints. And it prints just straight away. The business has been up and down. When I moved back to Roswell back in '94, we moved back here. I think there were 7 printing companies in town.
7?
8 printing companies.
Wow.
There were 8 printing companies in town. Yeah, we were all starving together, pretty much. And then, attrition, things just changed, and it's been really good. We had as few as 3 people at one time. Now we've got 15 of us working there. It's pretty good. And trust me, I appreciate everybody. And